I never thought my life would take such a turn. Looking back, I should have seen the signs, but love makes you blind, doesn't it? Sam and I had been together for over 3 years. High school sweethearts who swore we'd make long-distance work. Different universities didn't seem like a big deal at first. We were in love, and love was supposed to conquer everything. At least that's what I believed. The first few months weren't bad. We texted every day, called every night, and made plans to visit each other whenever possible. But as time passed, things started shifting. Messages took longer to get a reply. Calls were shorter, sometimes ignored completely. Sam always had an excuse. Classes, assignments, new friends. I understood, or at least I tried to. University life was busy. Chris, my roommate, noticed the change before I did. He was the kind of guy who paid attention to details. We met on move-in day, and within weeks, we were inseparable. He had this way of making people feel at ease, like he genuinely cared. We'd spend hours talking about life, relationships, our dreams. He listened when I vented about Sam, nodding like he understood exactly how I felt. "You deserve someone who prioritizes you," he said one night after I got another. "Sorry, I was busy," text from Sam. I brushed it off. Chris was just being a good friend, right? Still, I couldn't ignore the growing distance between Sam and me. Calls became rare, and when we did talk, Sam seemed distracted. Conversations felt forced, like I was the only one trying to keep things alive. Photos started popping up on social media. Sam at parties, always with a particular group of people. One name kept showing up. I asked about it, and Sam laughed it off. "Just a friend," they said. I wanted to believe that. Chris, however, wasn't convinced. He pointed out things I had overlooked. How Sam never posted about me anymore. How they always had an excuse for not visiting. How they seemed perfectly fine without me while I was struggling to hold everything together. I hated that he had a point. One night, after another ignored call, I sat on my bed, staring at my phone. Chris was there, watching me carefully. "You ever think maybe you're holding on to something that's already gone?" I didn't answer. I didn't want to. Because if I admitted it, then I'd have to face the truth. And I wasn't ready for that yet. I started noticing the little things. The way Sam avoided talking about their day. The vague responses. The sudden enthusiasm for a social life that never seemed to include me. I tried to tell myself it was normal. People change in college. But deep down something felt off. Chris saw it too. "You ever feel like you're the only one trying?" he asked one night. I didn't answer because I already knew the truth. Then came the photo. Sam at a party, standing way too close to someone I'd never met. Their body language told me everything. I stared at my screen, my heart pounding. Called immediately. No answer. Hours later, a text. "You're overthinking. It's just a friend." I wanted to believe that, but doubt had already sunk its claws into me. The next time we talked, I pushed harder. "Are you sure there's nothing going on?" Was. Just long enough to confirm everything I feared. "Of course not," Sam said, but the words felt empty. Chris didn't say, "I told you so," but his silence spoke volumes. Instead, he sat next to me, voice soft. "You deserve someone who doesn't make you doubt them." I hated how much sense he made. I blocked Sam. No messages, no calls, nothing. There was nothing left to say. The person I had trusted the most had been lying to me for months. I thought cutting them off would bring relief, but instead, it left a hollow feeling in my chest. 3 years together, gone in an instant. Chris kept his distance for a few days. Maybe he knew I was struggling to process everything. Maybe he thought I'd come to him when I was ready. But when he finally did reach out, I wasn't sure how I felt. "You okay?" he asked, voice careful. I let out a dry laugh. "What do you think?" He sighed like he had been carrying this weight too. "I just wanted to check on you." "Why?" "Yes. Because you feel guilty." His silence was answer enough. I shook my head. "You knew, Chris. You knew and you didn't tell me." His jaw tightened. "I didn't know how." "You didn't try," I shot back. "You just waited." His eyes darkened, but he didn't deny it. "I was trying to be there for you." Scoff. By keeping me in the dark. By letting me make a fool of myself. He ran a hand through his hair, frustration clear on his face. I thought. He stopped himself, exhaling sharply. I thought if I told you, you wouldn't believe me. That you'd just get mad at me instead of seeing the truth. Maybe, I admitted. But at least you would have told me the truth instead of standing by and watching me suffer. He looked at me then, something unreadable in his expression. I never wanted to hurt you. Yeah. I let out a bitter laugh. Then why does it feel like you did? He had no answer. And I had nothing left to say. I stopped talking to both of them. Not out of spite, not for revenge, just because I needed to. Sam had betrayed me in the most obvious way. And Chris had betrayed me in a way I hadn't even considered. I wasn't going to choose between the person who cheated on me and the person who watched it happen. The first few weeks were the hardest. Everything felt raw. I kept reaching for my phone, instinctively wanting to text Sam about something, only to remember there was no Sam anymore. I'd see something funny and think about telling Chris, only to feel that same bitter resentment rise in my chest. I buried myself in distractions, studying, going out with other friends, anything to keep my mind from replaying those last conversations. Slowly, the ache started to fade. It wasn't sudden, but one day I realized I had gone a full 24 hours without thinking about either of them. And then 2 days. Then a week. Chris tried to reach out again, but I ignored it. He didn't get to be my safe place after everything. Sam never even bothered. I guess I should have expected that. The thing is, I wasn't angry anymore. Not at them. Anger takes too much energy, and I had wasted enough of mine on people who didn't deserve it. Instead, I focused on myself. I started saying yes to things I used to turn down. I met new people, explored new places, did things that made me feel alive again. And one day, while laughing over coffee with a new friend, I realized something. I was happier. Maybe not completely healed, maybe not fully over everything, but lighter, freer. I had spent so much time chasing love, holding on to people who didn't hold on to me the same way. But I didn't need to do that anymore. I wasn't looking for closure. I wasn't looking for apologies. I had already found what I needed. Myself.